Welcome all, it's Russ. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the in operator. The in operator is used for searching to see if there's a value inside a container. Now, exactly how it does this search varies based on the type of container. When we've got things like strings, remember the technical name for a Python array is a list. So we'll call this an array. If we've got a string or a list or a string, an array, or a tuple, then what in does is it says, does this value exist in the container? All right, so you can do something like x equals 10, 20, 30, and you can say if 30 in x, do something. All right, so what it does is it's literally just searching through the array, looking at every element in turn. If it ever finds something that's equal to 30, then it will go and report it. And this is equivalent to you doing a for loop. For I in range len x, check to see whether the value exists inside the array. Now, the in operator in dictionaries does something that's analogous, but a little bit different. This says, does the key exist? It doesn't search by values. And when we talk at the end of the semester, normally we have time to talk about the implementation of a dictionary. It's something called a hash table. When we get to the end of the semester, I'll tell you what a hash table is, or you can go look it up in Wikipedia if you want. It turns out that looking up a key and figuring out whether the key exists inside the dictionary is a very, very easy and fast thing to do in a dictionary. But trying to figure out whether a value exists inside the dictionary is very, very slow and difficult. And so if you want to search for the key, if you want to search the keys, it's very easy to do. If you want to search the values, you're going to have to write the code yourself. All right, example code for this. X equals, let's say I've been doing integers mapping to strings. Let's change that. Let's do strings mapping to strings. Foo maps to bar, and Baz maps to Fred. And now you can write an if statement. Oh, I went off the edge again. Baz maps to Fred. That's what that says over there. You can say if foo is in X. And what you're asking is, does the key foo exist somewhere within the dictionary or not? This is very important because you know that if you do X foo, but if that key does not exist, like if you say Y equals X foo, then you will get a key error if foo does not exist. So this is classic of, say you want to populate something. Say you want to populate a dictionary with a whole bunch of words. So let's write a simple little program that'll illustrate what you can use this for in a dictionary. And the program I'm going to write is going to read from input, count number of times each word is typed. And for simplicity here, we're not going to try to split the lines up. We're not going to do even strip. We're just going to like assume somebody's typing just plain words on the input. All right. So let's take counts equals dictionary. Remember that curly braces allows you to declare a dictionary that has no elements in it right now. So this is a dictionary, but there are no maps that exist within it. And then we'll just have a infinite loop here. We ought to have some way to break out of this, but I'm actually going to just offload that for now. So this is going to be stuck inside this while loop forever. We're going to say word equals input. So it's going to read a word from the keyboard. And now it's going to ask the question, have we ever seen this word before? If we have seen this word before, we want to increment the count for that word. But if we haven't seen the word before, then we want to say this is the very first time that we've ever seen it. So what you can say is, if word in counts. So this is asking, does this word that was just typed, is it already a key inside this dictionary? If it is, then what we can say is counts word plus equals 1. Read the current value associated with this word, add 1 to it, store it back into the dictionary. So this is incrementing a count of how many times this word has been seen. If we haven't seen it yet, then we can simply say counts word equals 1. All right, so why did we need this if statement? If we didn't have this if statement, if we didn't check to see whether the word was already in the counts array, then when we went here and we tried to increment our count, we would get what sort of an exception? We would get key error. Oh, I should not write in green. I forgot about that. This is a green screen. We would get a key error if this word was not already in the dictionary. So what we did was we said, if the word is in the dictionary, we can just increment our count. But if it's not in the dictionary, then initialize it. Create an entry that never existed before. All right? So this is a classic use of the in operator on a dictionary. Now, any other things that you need to know about the in operator? Well, let's talk about not in. We already know that there's a not operator. We already said that there's a not operator previously. And we know that we have an in operator, so it's perfectly valid to write this. If not X in Y. All right, this says Y is some sort of a collection. I'm not telling you. Maybe it's an array, maybe it's a string, maybe it's a dictionary, whatever. We're going to run the in operator and we're looking for X. And we can say, if that's not true, then we're going to do our if statement, or then if it's not true, then our if statement is true. Python has a little shorthand for that. As far as I know, this only works with the in operator. It doesn't work with any other expressions that I've ever run across. You can say not in. X not space in Y. And that is saying if X is not in Y, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do something. One other thing that I should tell you before we go is in operators on strings. Those are a little bit more flexible than you might realize. Imagine that you've got a string foo bar. Now, obviously, we could use the in operator to look for the character F. And we would say, yes, it exists. We could look for the character A. It exists. Yes. If we look for the character W, no, it does not exist. But you can also look for strings. So you can say, if ob in X. And what this will notice is that the string ob is inside foobar, and so therefore this statement would be true. It's doing a search for a string, not just a single character inside our string. Well, that's pretty much it for the in operator. I hope you've learned a lot. I hope this has been useful to you. Bye-bye.